Sup everyone, I'm your female otaku, and I'm here to not rant about episode 2 of Akashic Records. This episode was way better than the first one, because that first episode was utter trash. But I knew that, you know, pretty much all magic school anime have pretty shitty first episodes, very cliche first episodes, and I was looking for something more. And I thought Akashic Records could have something more when it came to this whole mystery element, when it came to finding out about the secret of the Sky Castle or something like that. This episode didn't really focus on that. However, things did progress. It also did a couple of things I didn't like, but we'll get to that later. Basically, we may have the next Rokudenashi no Cavalry on our hands, but I won't continue to compare it to Rokudenashi no Cavalry because that is ecchi harem, and this is more of just like an ecchi school. And that was also, Rokudenashi no Cavalry was also, you know, magic battle school academy type thing. This one isn't magic battle school type anime. But anyway, the majority of the episode was great. The only thing that I didn't like about this episode was this horrendous tone shift, honestly. The tone of the majority of the episode was great until this certain point when Sistine was about to get raped and they made a joke that ruined the entire mood for a good 30 seconds, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, oh my gosh, the teacher Glenn, he walks in, and we're just so obviously, me as a viewer, I'm just all like, okay, great, Sistine's gonna be saved, woohoo, good. But then he walks in, he sees the terrible situation that she's in, and then he's all like, okay, sorry to intrude. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I was so annoyed. Like, this episode, the tone was fantastic until that point, and I was just so annoyed up until like the very end. Like, it was cool when Glenn was beating up that one dude, but honestly, I couldn't really get into it after that. Once that joke was inserted, I just couldn't. I was very annoyed. But that didn't happen till more towards the end of the episode. With the majority of the episode, it was very intriguing, because within the first 3 minutes, we have this conversation about, is magic really beneficial to humanity at this point with, you know, science, and, you know, we have like doctors and other things that, you know, humans can do on their own without magic, you know? And then Glenn was all like, oh, well, actually, magic is good for one thing: killing. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, wow. That's definitely not something I thought about before. And Sistine was very hurt by this because she has this attachment to magic because it's a bond that she had with her deceased grandfather, and magic can be used to study the principles of the world. At least that's what Sistine believes, but Glenn believes, like, later on he admits that instead of studying the principles of the world using magic, it can be used to bring out like the best in you or something like that. There was one thing that did irritate me besides the joke thing, which is something that I completely disliked. Something that irritated me in the episode was the fact that so quickly Glenn was the worst teacher and now he's teaching like the best class. Like, you have students trying to peek in on his lectures. I'm like, are you kidding me? That fast? He's already the best one? Come on, people! Like, I mean, I'm happy for Glenn. I am that, you know, he's found his way of teaching and stuff. But honestly, I don't think this teaching will go a long way because now he's disregarding the textbook. He doesn't even understand the textbook himself. So he's going to teach the students based on his experience. And that's cool, but these are still students and he is still a third-rate mage. So there's only so far that he can go with his teachings. This could possibly backfire later on down the road. But for now, he was able to teach the students something new in regards to modifying, you know, chants and spells so that you can direct your magic in another, you know, direction, or it could turn into something completely different. Since last week's video was basically a rant, I decided not to talk about one thing I really liked, and that was Rumia. But since Rumia got a lot of focus in this episode, I will talk about her now. I really enjoy Rumia's character, honestly. I think she's my favorite, no, she's definitely my favorite character of the series thus far. And Rumia is such a sweet girl, but she has a very interesting past. You see, she was kicked out of her village and then got kidnapped by evil mages, and then was rescued by some mage, which is clearly Glenn. I mean, if you remember in last week's episode, he said that she looked familiar to him. So Glenn saved her, but she doesn't know that, and Glenn's not too sure if he's the one that saved her or not, but he knows that Rumiya looks familiar. And then after Rumiya was saved, she was inspired by mages and decided to become one herself. And then later on decided to live with Sistine. Meanwhile, with Glenn's backstory, all we know is that he's been living with the Professor Silica for about a year. Before that, what did he do? It seems like he was perhaps a mage assassin or some sort of mage vigilante, something like that. He definitely did some underground work, but you can only go so far with underground work, right? Like, it's not like he was able to learn much from that, except for killing, actually. So yeah, there's a good chance he was probably like an underground, like, mage hitman, and then he was all like, you know what, never mind, I can't do this. Or maybe Silica found him, decided to show him the error of his ways, something like that. Not too sure, but he definitely did some dirty work in the past. The episode ends with Sistine being rescued, but Rumiya still being captured. She was taken away. We don't know why. Heck, we don't really know why she got banished from her village in the first place, only to be captured by evil mages. What makes Rumiya so special? Let me know your thoughts on this episode, if you thought this was better than last week's, if you wish that the tone still stayed the same as last week's episode, like you prefer those types of anime, or if you're gonna just still give it the 3-episode test, if you're sticking with this anime, let me know. I'm definitely still gonna give it the 3-episode test. I'm not officially sticking with it just yet. You will have my official answer by next week. So catch me later as I give you my first impressions on Fukumenke, Noise, and Suka Suka. I'm your female otaku. Sign out.